Welcome to the Educational Physics Podcast. I am your host, João Figueiredo. This is Season 3 of the Educational Physics Podcast. I hope to speak about many issues. I hope to speak to guests about many issues. And I hope that we together can discuss the future of education in an honest and open way. Please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting. Your feedback and support is much appreciated. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Educational Physics Podcast. It's Season 3 and this is Episode 1. Now, I must say that I needed a break from podcasting and for multiple reasons. First of all, it was a summer break, so I just wanted to chill completely, enjoy the family. Also, because I realized that although I was putting out content every week, content that I thought was relevant and interesting, I realized that I'm not putting enough effort into growing my audience. That is something that I have to learn about more. It's not something that comes to me naturally. I'm more of a thinker and I put stuff out there, and obviously that's not enough. And so I need to ponder on how to promote this a little more. Maybe more guests, maybe advertising. I don't know. I need to think about it. But I do have an interesting idea for at least the first 4 episodes besides this one, which is to explore learner-centered education from 4 different perspectives. Okay? So I'm going to tackle it from, even before I say that, I want to explain why I want to tackle it from 4 different perspectives. As you might know, if you are in education or you have children in education or you have been in education, which now that pretty much encompasses everyone, you know that the system is not necessarily designed to be learner-centered. In other words, it's both educator-centered, which is an old school model, but it's more importantly curriculum-centered. And that's a problem, okay? Learner-centered education is much more, in my opinion, beneficial to the learner. I mean, the reasons are on the tin, but because the system persists and insists that we stick to this curriculum-centered model, then I'm going to try to come up with enough reasons as to why this is not the best way to go about teaching and learning by providing 4 different arguments. Okay, the first one will be the evolutionary reason. There's a reason why we can think. There's a reason why we can come up with answers in our own minds, and there's a reason why we have different parts that make up, in a way, both your personality and your mind, your psyche. Then I'm going to link that to the second reason, so that would be another episode on the psychological reasons behind the benefits of learner-centered education. Psychologically, why does it work? Number 3 will be the philosophical reason. So we're going to talk about Socrates, we're going to talk about Plato, we're going to talk about Stoicism, and we're going to see how all of these philosophical schools of thought really, how do I put it, not only support but underpin the benefits of learner-centered education. And I mean, the point I'm going to want to make with the philosophical episode is also an historical reason, which is these ideas have been around for so long, and yet we keep on pretending that they are not either existent or valid. So we'll have to figure that out. Okay. Fourth reason, one of my favorites, is the laziness argument, also known as the lazy argument. Even the argument in itself is quite lazy. Learner-centered education, I practice this every day in my teaching, right? And one of the things that I pretty much never have to do is plan a lesson. Now, yes, I'm calling it a lazy argument, and it does make things easy for me, but the reason why I don't plan lessons goes far beyond just being lazy. And so I'm going to talk about that as well. Now, today's first episode is more about having a sense of humor. So, like in the last season, we talked about a lot of different things, from mindset to philosophy to obviously education, motivation. We talked a lot about motivation. We talked a lot about artificial intelligence, which I will talk about again. And I've got some cool experiments in the works, so I'm gonna love to share those with you. However, one thing I never talked about is having a sense of humor. Here I am talking about all these deep things, deep issues, fundamental components of human nature. But the reality is, I don't take any of this too seriously, and there's a couple of reasons as to why that is. First, context. I was having a conversation with someone recently, and this person was talking about gender issues and attractiveness. I love the topic. I've written about this. I wrote about this for my undergrad degree. It's something that I find very interesting in education as well. But it piqued my interest, so I engaged. This was on social media, and I was, as I do, questioning it, questioning the questions she was asking, questioning the whole idea. And I was being purposefully provocative, right? That's, for me, fundamental to it allows two things. It allows the people communicating to have some fun, and it allows us to think more freely without the fear of insulting or hurting someone's feelings. It's half exploratory conversation, half satire of how ridiculous all these questions sometimes can be, although fun to pursue. That's the thing. I'm very comfortable living in this place where at the same time I feel comfortable exploring deep, sometimes dark ideas, whilst still knowing that it's a luxury that I get to explore those ideas. And I'm extremely privileged that I have the headspace to think about education and motivation and gender biases and this and that. It's a luxury, and so I have to laugh, because the people that I'm actually trying to help and that I will invest more and more time and resources into helping, they don't have the headspace to think about any of this nonsense. So for God's sake, laugh. Do you know what I mean? Laugh about it. Have a laugh at your own expense, like I suppose I'm doing now. Here I am calling me highly privileged. But man, have I struggled to earn this privilege. I've struggled financially, I've struggled emotionally, I've struggled to even find the thoughts that I'm now trying to express. They came to me through struggle. So there's a lot of darkness in this, no doubt about it. But whilst exposing these ideas, am I trying to promote darkness or am I trying to expose the darkness? How do you expose the darkness? You shed light on it. Okay? And so let's attempt to explore these ideas with more lightness and more light. Isn't that funny that we call light in the English language, the opposite of heavy is light, as is the opposite of dark? I'm just saying. And so why humor? Why having a sense of humor? Well, not only it makes the arguments more fun, it makes the arguments a little safer, unless people choose to not really play the game together, and if they don't, then okay, yeah, one of those people will have fun, the other will feel upset and insulted. That's fine. But also, there's a chemical release of dopamine and serotonin that allows us to relax into these conversations. And if you're more relaxed, if you're calmer, you can think more deeply. If you're all stressed out trying to navigate deep philosophical questions, well, you can't. That's the thing. You can't navigate those waters. And so I really want to push for this idea of humor in philosophy, humor in exploratory communication. Lots of great thinkers do this. Michael Malice is a pro at this. A pro. But he's not the only one. Christopher Hitchens was a pro at this. A deep thinker, a great speaker, but funny. Snarky, witty. Sam Harris. You look at him and he looks like this very harmless, science-y kind of guy. He's quick-witted. And he can be funny, right? So it's not unusual that deep thinkers are capable of turning on that sense of humor. In fact, let's switch this to comedians. Comedians are really deep thinkers. I mean, I'm not going to say all, but many. Ricky Gervais, whether you like him or not, that's besides the point. But he does think about things deeply. Right? George Carlin, deep thinker. Perhaps at the end of his career, he prioritized mostly thinking deeply rather than being funny. But again, that goes besides the point. In fact, that even proves the point. He could be funny, but chose to think deeply and be critical of society and etc., etc. But the reality is that these people can use both gears. And then I see this group of people, I guess, this community, where they're dealing with deep, serious issues. I'm not going to deny that. But they feel like they need to signal how serious they are about it. I'm not sure what I think of that. It feels a little forced, and it feels definitely energy wasting. And so I would say that if you are interested in deep ideas and problematic topics and controversial ideas, lighten it up by having a sense of humor. Now, I'm not talking about mockery. Let's distinct things. It's not mockery. It's lightness. It's having a youthful spirit. Don't bring yourself down by taking these issues so personally that you just can't find the funny anymore. If that happens, take a break. You're exhausting yourself, and you're not going to deliver the message that you're trying to deliver the way you're trying to deliver, or at least the way it would be best received. If you go at it too seriously, what's going to happen is that only the people who are looking for an ally, not an educator, not a mentor, not a teacher, they're looking for an ally for whatever grievances they have. Yeah, they will see you being all serious and dramatic and this and that. Yeah, and you're gonna be the person because, hey, you fit the emotional profile. You fit the emotional profile. That doesn't mean that what you're saying is more or less relevant whether you say it in a lighter, funnier way with sense of humor. Because look, again, there's the issue of the privilege we all have to be thinking about all this stuff. Man, if that's not funny, I don't know what is. And also, we're trying to talk about things that are not binary, right? At all. And we're trying to come up with binary ways to discuss them. You're for or against. Well, hold on. The issue is not binary. Look, without getting myself in trouble here, but I will do it anyway. We're talking about spectral ideas, right? Like gender, correct? Which, by the way, it absolutely is a spectrum. Great. So how come the only answers available to us in the discussion are binary? Why does it have to be yes or no, pro or against? Why can we not have a spectral discussion on spectral topics? This is what I mean. Humor removes this need to be so assertive and on the attack, right? Offensive, not in the sense of insulting, but in the sense of playing offense. Why do we need to be so offensive when it comes to spectral conversations, spectral ideas? That's what I don't understand. It's not a conversation about whether the sky is blue or red, okay? That's pretty binary. Someone is going to be wrong in that debate, just from empirical knowledge. If you're dealing with notions that are not necessarily objective, then okay, let's have a subjective conversation that doesn't pin me down and confine me to two different or two unique positions, yes or no. No, I don't have interest in having those conversations because I feel limited. I feel almost trapped and tricked into taking one position without questioning anything. No, I forget who said it, but the saying goes, I would rather live in a world where there are questions that can be answered than answers that can be questioned. I 100% agree with that. I wish I could credit the person right now, but look it up. It's not my quote. And that's what I'm thinking about the starting this new season. So I want to reach more people, but I also want us to be lighter, discuss things more openly. I'm going to attempt to have guests on the show again, but to have lighthearted, deep, difficult conversations that we will deal with by using humor and goodwill and common sense and just a positive attitude. Damn, come on. Like, we're living a pandemic. What other reasons would we need to be positive? How about just because? So, this is your first episode of season 3 of the Educational Physics Podcast. It's a pleasure to be back, I should say. And I will see you next week, where we hopefully will start our series of episodes on learner-centered education. Please share, like, comment, subscribe, all of it. I love you all. And have a laugh. Bye-bye.